Alright, sup nerds, so if you have made it far enough to have found this video, congratulations, you can use a computer. This guide will help to install the VMware and image, and it will help meet most of its scoring requirements. For those of you that have no clue exactly what Cyberpatriots is, it's a nice club that some computer geeks at the Air Force established a while ago. We compete against other teams, and whoever has the highest score wins. You get score for completing necessary tasks to secure the computer. Some things will get you score, some will not, and some will take your score away. So be careful about what you do. If you have any questions that this boring lesson can't answer, talk to the kids that have been in the club for a while. Though, since they're on a separate team, they might not help you. Be sure to listen to anything Mr. Duke says, and remember the vocab terms. And now, on to the video. Okay, so if you're having some trouble with this dock, first thing you gotta do, download this. All you gotta do, click that, doesn't matter how sketchy it is, download. Alright, while we're waiting for that, we can download VMware. My computer doesn't have this yet, because I just uninstalled it for the purpose of this video, so I'm going to reinstall it. If you're on a school computer, you don't need to do this, because they already got it. And by school computer, I mean like the Cybertech computers, not any computer. So now that we have both those downloading, it might take a second to finish, because my download speed is slow for some reason. Alright, now that this is finished, we can click show in folder twice, it seems, and start running that. That'll start the installation process. Then just click next, I accept, next. No one cares if you're installing a virus onto the computer, next. We don't really need a desktop shortcut. Alright, now that'll start installing. Yeah. Alright, then we click finish. That's the end of that. Alright, now after half my lifespan, this is finished downloading, so we're going to click show in folder again. And this part, you want to have 7-zip for. Hopefully you have it. If you don't, you can look up a video to download it, because it makes it a lot easier. But if you don't, by chance, there should be this little button here. It comes in Windows, extract all. Just extract it to a folder. You can do this by clicking extract all, whatever file, and then extract. I'm not going to do that because I'm a superior being and have 7-zip. So we're going to do extract to that. Then we wait some more. This is very interesting. Okay, once you finish unzipping it, there should be another folder here named after this exact same thing, but you notice it's missing that .zip. That's because it's been unzipped. So we go into this folder. You should see icons on the side of these. If you don't, you did not properly install VMware, and you're probably going to want to go back to that. So we have a lot of these. Might be complicated if you didn't know that you have to click the one with the three squares. So you got to click that, and it'll open a little window. This window is called VMware Workstation 15 Player. It also has the name of the file in front of it. So it's gonna skip this version, remind me later, and go in here. You don't want to update this because we need 15. Do not get 16. Do not change this at all. Alright, so now we have to log into this Cyberpatriot account. The password is very complicated, very complex. It is Cyberpatriot. Yes, it is the same as the username. I know, for a cybersecurity class, it's not very secure, but it's probably to protect the computer against idiots like us. So now you can full screen this, and from here it's pretty simple. All you gotta do, Control-Alt-T. That'll pull up the terminal. We're gonna be using this terminal for pretty much everything. It's quite useful for everything. So now we're gonna pull up a list of the users first. User commands. So it's quite a simple command. It's just less, and then this file path. This file path brings you to this user list. So here we have all the users, and then some, because you notice that we have Kyle, Carl, all these people that we know, and then we got sync, man, games, all that stuff that it's part of the system. These are system profiles. So the format is basically name, which is, yeah, that's actually not a person. Here, let's just do name, and then the password comes next, and then none of this is important except for this right here. That's the person's home file. It's where they store all their stuff. And yeah, so we have this huge list, but as you notice, it doesn't have just the users. So it's kind of weird. So now we're going to run this amazingly long command just to figure out a couple numbers. So this command will be rep, and then a dash capital E, some quotes, and a caret. I don't know why we have carrots, because they're tasty, I guess. Then we have an underscore max, you know, after that. Actually, I think we do min first. Yeah, min definitely comes first. And then we have the pipe, actually, which some people don't know what that is, but that's this long thing. No homo.
Dude, you're dumb.
So we have the caret, the U, ID, then we have max. Then you go want to end those quotes and put in the file path of the login dev. So this huge thing basically just gives us a min value and a max value. That's the range between the user IDs, because everything outside of those user IDs is not a user. It's one of those weird program things that for some reason pops up on the user list. Okay, so that returns these two values, the min and the max value. So that's the range. So all users will have the number between 1,000 and 60,000. So now to get the users in between those, we do G10 password without the O and the R. Then we start these bracket thingies with the min value, 2 dots, and then the max value. So this will basically show us all that user list again, but it'll only be between the 1,000 and the 60,000 value, which is just gonna show the users, or hopefully it will. There we go. So these are all the users that exist right here. We are obviously this person. So now we can open up that README that we have over here and see what users are supposed to be here. So let's compare a little bit. Carl's here. Wait, hold on. I don't see that anywhere. So that means that Charles is a person we have to remove, and let's see. Smit also looks like we have to remove them. So Charles and Smit need to be removed. So to delete a user, it's very simple. You gotta use sudo userdel and then the person's name. So first person we're gonna remove is Charles. So you need the password, which it won't show you actually typing this command for security measures, but I typed in Cyberpatriot, press enter, and now that person should be removed. So we use the up arrow key to go back up to that one command we used. Let's see if he still exists on that list. Now, looks like he does not exist anymore. So what happens if you don't put sudo in front of that userdel is this. You see that we have permission denied. That's because you don't get root permission unless you use sudo, which is an administrator command. So only us and Snoopy should be able to use that because we're administrators. So we should use sudo. We don't have a root command access because if you accidentally mistype something, it could mess up the whole system. So that's why you don't get root command. So let's sudo userdel smit just to get them out of here. There we go. Now we use reset to clear this terminal because it's getting a little messy. And then we should be able to do the user list again. So G10 pass WD bracket 1,000 ... 60,000. And let's see. Okay, not seeing Charles, not seeing Smith. It's a good thing. Alright, so that should be all the people allowed here. That's good. Alright, let's reset this again. Now we're going to do sudo vim. Vim allows the editing of a file that you add. So we're going to add this file right here. So this shows auto login user. So our whole point of opening this is to change allow guest to false. So we type I to allow the editing of file, and then we press enter to add a new line. So to stop people from logging in as guest, we're going to change allow guest to false. because if somebody uses a guest account, they can log into this computer and access stuff without having to put in a password, which is not very safe. So we're going to add that to the next line, and we do escape to stop editing. Then we just simply type WQ to the last line to leave. So now that should be changed. Let's look at our score report and see if that updated. So you can see here that it did in fact update, as we now have the guest account has been disabled, which is worth 6 points. You can also see that we did get points for removing those 2 unauthorized users. So now we want to see about these authorized administrators. So we're the only authorized administrators, but we want to see if anyone else has administrator permissions. So we're going to go to G10 groups. This command basically shows all the groups. G10 shows everything under a name, and so G10 groups would be showing everything under groups. So that should show all the groups. But oh wait, it's not groups, it's just one for some reason. Alright, so you can see that we have this thing of groups, even though some of these are, again, system groups, which kind of stupid. Only some of these are user groups. So every user has its own group for some reason, which I don't really like. But so me, which is Cyberpatriot, and Snoopy are the only administrators. But you can see that Smith and Kyle are under SamaShare. They're also under LP admin, and they're under sudo and admin. So we don't want Smith or Kyle here because they're not administrators. Sudo, again, is the command that allows you to change a lot of stuff, which is quite dangerous for security. So to remove a person from a group, we have to use the sudo command again, gpassword.d. Then we have to use their username and the group we want to remove them from. So let's start with the admin group, which is ADM. So we want to remove Smith from this group, and Kyle, but we'll get to Kyle later. So let's start with Smith, and the ADM is what the group we want to remove them from. So removing user Smith from group at ADM. So that'll work. So now we can do sudo gpassword d. That should remove Kyle from that group. Oh, we forgot the W again. Yeah, it's quite confusing. So now to check that, we can do gtent group, and then we can put the group name, so ADM. So now you can see that only syslog, Cyberpatriot, and Snoopy are here. Syslog is a system thing, we don't want to remove that. So now let's do SamaShare. We need to remove Kyle and Smith from that, as Smith, same thing, from that as well. So the only thing we're changing here is we're changing ADM to SamaShare because we're removing them from the SamaShare group. So we do that, then we remove Kyle from that. And we can again check that by doing gtent group SamaShare. And look, it's only me and Snoopy in it. For some reason, Snoopy's an admin, even though I don't trust the dude. Charlie Brown was a questionable series. And the last group we need to remove them from is LP admin, because, you know, they shouldn't be in there. So we need to again remove them both using gtent password -d Kyle LP admin. So we remove them. Now we can remove Smith, because Smith is bad. So now we can use the command groups Kyle to see what groups Kyle is in. Kyle is still in sudo, so we forgot the sudo group to remove them from. We can also check this with Smith, who's also in the sudo group. So we need to remove them both from that group as well. So sudo gpassword -d Kyle sudo. That'll remove Kyle from sudo. Now we can just replace that name with Smith. You can see Smith is also removed from that group. So let's check that again. gtent group sudo. And look, it's just me and him. Welcome, Bill. So now in our score report, we should be able to see over here that they have both been removed as administrators. Neither of them is an administrator anymore. That's good for us because, well, they're not supposed to be administrators. So now we need to check the SSH server. Let's type reset so we don't have to deal with all those commands again. And we can check if the SSH server is running by doing SSH localhost. Sorry, my brain just poofed over there. So it says connection refused. That means that we do not have a SSH server up and running, which is bad for us because, well, we should probably get one of those up and running. But what we do have is the client. We have SSH client, which we don't really want because we need SSH server in order to keep this as a server. So we need to install SSH server. But if we try to do sudo apt install SSH server, open SSH server, because for some reason that's included, it won't work. Unable to correct problems, you have held broken packages. So those broken packages it's referring to is the client, is the SSH client, because it still uses those same files, so we have to remove those files. We can simply remove those files by doing sudo apt purge open SSH client. Hold on. We didn't put an R. Kinda sucks. So now it's asking us if we want to remove it. Yes. So now it's going to take a second, and wow, look, it's removed. So we can do that command we did earlier, sudo apt install open SSH server. And this time it should work since we don't have client anymore. Oh, and again, we're a bad typer, so we did not put an R here. There we go. It's going to ask for permission again. We're going to do yes. And would you look at that, it installs. Now we can check this again by doing SSH localhost. So it says something different this time, and it asks if we want to continue connecting. We're not going to deal with that right now. So, yeah. But our score report should have changed again with SSH servers is running, which is pretty good because, well, that was kind of the whole point of doing that. So now we want to install a firewall. Let's reset this again because, well, too many commands. And then we can do sudo ufw allow SSH. So UFW stands for uncomplicated firewall because, well, it's a firewall and it's not very complicated. So now that the rules have been updated, we can do sudo ufw enable. That will enable the firewall, and firewall is active and enabled on system startup. That means that we have in fact installed the firewall as we were supposed to. So let's look at our score report for a second. Firewall has been enabled. That's good for us. So now what we need to do is search for software updater. We can do this very simply by pressing the Windows key or command key and typing software. You can memorize the name by doing software updater, but I just type software. Then we open that, it'll check for updates. We don't want to download that at all because we're fine with 14.04. So we're going to go to settings, automatically check for updates daily. So it's going to need our password again. We're again going to put in the username, not the password. Well, actually it is the password, but and because we do that, we're going to close. Then we can close this too because that's stupid. Score report, there we go. Operating system updates daily. That's what we wanted. So now we're going to do the audit policies. First, let's clear our terminal. So now we're going to do sudo apt get install audit d. That d is just, well, at the end of the title for some unknown reason. So we're going to continue as before, and it should be finished. So now we want to enable it by doing sudo audit ctl-e1. So there we go. It is in fact enabled, as enabled is equal to 1, which if you know binary, 1 is yes, 0 is no. So enabled, disabled, 1, 0. So score report, let's look here. Auditing has been enabled. Very good. So now we want to change the password policy. We can do that very simply by doing the sudo vim and then that one file that we remember, which is login defs. Very good. Vim again is what you use to edit files. This is the file path to the file. There we go. Would you look at here? We have a file to edit. So what we're looking for here is past max days and past min days and the past warn age. We don't really have to change that because 7 is just fine for our means. So we're going to do I to edit again, or to insert as it likes to call it. So the past max days should be 90 and the past min days should be 10. So past max days basically means the maximum amount of time you can have a password before it starts to expire. And the password min days is the minimal amount of days that you can change it. So you have to wait 10 days until you can change your password again. So that's very simple. Now we're going to do escape again to stop editing. We're going to do that colon and then WQ to save or stuff. So that should have just changed the file and made the password policy. So we're going to go to our score report and see if that did anything. There we go. Password expiration policy has been configured. That's good for us. Great for us, actually. So now let's check out those forensic questions. I've noticed these are sitting here. So let's see. What port is a malware backdoor listening on? Now this is an odd question because, well, if they knew a malware backdoor is listening on a port, they probably should have removed it. But we'll do this for them. So we can get a list of things by doing sudo netstat ant p. So that will give us a list of all the things going on around here. And by all the things going on around here, I mean like what ports are listening and all that. Also show these other ports that aren't listening, but time wait, close wait. So basically we're looking around here for something that probably isn't supposed to be here. So let's look. cupsd, that's a system file. sshd, we just installed that. xintd, also a system file. cupsd, system file, we just covered that. This is a daemon, we'll get into those later, but not really important right now. Now let's look Python. Well, you might not recognize Python as like a programming language, but here that's not what it means. Now Python is an unrecognized program, meaning it's probably bad, and because it's listening on port 54321, that's kind of sketchy. So we're gonna answer and see if that's the right thing. So you see the port by looking at this. Don't pay attention to this. That's stupid. We don't need that right now. So 54321 is what we're paying attention to, because that's the actual port name. So let's type our answer as 54321. And now we can save that and wait a minute for that score report to update. I don't know why it takes so long, but let's check. So there we go. Forensic question 1 correct. That's a great thing. Now what we can do here, even though it's not worth points, is we can remove that port, or close it as it might be called. So now what we're going to do is sudo lsof/t/i, then we do that column, then we do 54321, because you know that's the port name. So we do that, it returns this little number. This number is what we're going to use to terminate the process. That's 1201. You can also find that there, but that's not always there, so we can't really rely on it. So we're going to rely on this command right here to give us that number. So now all we do here is sudo kill 1201. Let's see, it should have terminated that process. So we can bring up that list again by doing the same thing, which is sudo netstat ant p. We do that. Look, I don't see Python here anymore. That's great, because it's kind of a bad thing if we did see it. So let's do reset again, reset the terminal. Now let's dig into question 2. Okay, this is a lot more simple. Which user has prohibited files within their home directory? Again, as we did earlier, you can easily view people's home directories by looking up the user list. So we'll do that by doing gtent pass wd, then we do the things in the brackets again. We don't have to look up those numbers again because we already got them, but if you don't remember them, you can in fact do the command from earlier. So we do that, we see all these people. Now, like I said earlier, the format of this is name, password, which all these are X because they're encrypted, so you don't really get to see them. And then right here at the end, that's their home directory. So right now we're looking for their home directory. All home directories are in home. So we get to home by going over here to applications, files. We can also do that by pressing the Windows/Control button and then looking up files. Look, it's right there. But we're not going to do that. We're going to be smart about this. So anyways, we're going to go down to computer. And once we're there, oh looky here, we have a home file. Quite interesting. So this has everyone's names in it. Let's start looking through, see about this. So okay, nothing there. Nothing interesting there. Nothing there. And this will go on for a while. This is OR, so don't worry about that school.jpg. That's the background. Drew over here, on the other hand, look at Oreo cookie balls. And hacking 101. Not suspicious at all. But let's look at the other people, see if we have any other rule breakers around here. Hackergrenade.jpg and hacker. Okay, so let's look a little. Seems like some of our people aren't very trustworthy. I don't like that. Snoopy's fine. So let's look at Kyle over here. So for multiple answers, we can do, as we said here, answer and then answer. So we're gonna do Kyle over here and Drew, because both of them have some serious stuff going on. So let's look over here. Let's do Drew. Copy that. For some reason you can't use shortcuts on this, like Control-C or Control-V, so we have to do copy and paste like that. And then Kyle. So that should have answered the question. Let's save that. Then it's going to take again another 5 years for the score report to load it. But we should be right. There we go. Forensic question 2 correct. Because we're freaking geniuses. So yeah. You don't have to do this, but you can do this. So let's close this. Look at these files. Okay, we don't like this, so let's delete this. So what we're going to do here is do the rm/etc/home/Drew and then /Oreo cookie balls.mp4. So that rm command deletes things. So instead of doing etc, we're just going to do /home, because it seems we don't really need that etc, I don't think. So we did that. Oh look, it disappeared. So we're just going to look in here because we don't need to use commands for that. Alright, now let's delete this. Now we can do this by replacing this with a folder name and then saying what's in it. Basic msf console command. Meta MP4. Very long name. There we go. Oh boy. So because there's spaces in between there, it's not going to work out so well. Let's see. See if quotes work. I'm doing this for the first time too, so there we go. It deleted it. It just took some quotes. So now we should be able to delete that using rimdir, because it deletes an empty file. So there we go. We just cleared Drew up. Very good, because Drew kind of sus. Now we're gonna go to Kyle. I don't like those two hacker grenade files, so we're gonna go over here. We're gonna do what we did last time: sudo rm/home/Kyle, and then we're gonna put in hackergrenade.jpg. Now we can do that. Do the same thing using hackers 13111.8ca.jpg, which is a very odd title. I don't really care for it. There we go. That should be gone. Now, since I haven't done this before, I'm going to check if this gives you score, and then I might add it to the doc if it does. Okay, it actually did do something. So, prohibited MP4 files were removed. And that should be it for now, but I will make a part 2 once I figure out the other entire, let's see, 44 points. But this should be enough for now to get you guys started. It doesn't take that long because you have this entire video and my entire doc in order to do them. You didn't have to look it all up and research this like me. But just contact me if you have any questions. You can do that by talking to me or sending me an email. Both will work. In fact, please send me an email. I don't like talking to you. Just kidding.